Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the PowettPlay Podcast. As always, it's me, Jordan Shannon. I'm joined by Kieran Powell. How are you, Kai?
I'm good, John. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you very much. Moving ahead, obviously, from the CPL conversations that we've been having, we're going to look, and you've named your 15-man squad for the series against Nepal in Sharjah. Um, so what I'll do is I'll read out the 15, and obviously then we'll go through it and obviously go through the thought process around the selection, because obviously there's some standout names not featuring, and obviously the reasonings behind that. So, with no further ado, I will go through the 15 which you selected, which is Evan Lewis, Jewel Andrew, Casey Carty, Shimon Hetraya, Rovman Powell, Jed Gooley, Jason Holder, Romario Shepherd, Akil Hussain, Jedi Blades, Obed McCoy, Nevin Badesi, Shamar Springer, Amir Django, and then Carrie Pierre. With your captain that you've named, obviously without Shea there, you've gone with Rovman Powell as captain. So talk me through it.
Yeah, Evan Lewis, I think I've got barring injury because I think he's been
Yes, yeah,
suffering with
yeah,
sort of a wrist niggle even before this CPL, but obviously when the West Indies were playing that home series against Pakistan and Australia as well. Obviously I had mentioned in previous episodes that I'd like Evan to be in my test team. But again, if he's having issues with his wrist and playing limited overs
yeah,
cricket, that's something that I'd like to have sort of addressed and attended to so that he's fully available and fit
yeah,
to go and play test, which is you're asking him to bat for a day and a half. So I
yeah,
don't think that
yeah.
you want to do that with a bad wrist. So he would be on this tour. Um, Joel Andrew, I mean, obviously they've elevated him to opening the batting in the last series against Pakistan, with Shea obviously expected not to be on this tour because the West Indies Test series against India starts just a few days after this series.
Do you think that will be the case?
But that has to be the case.
Right.
That has to be the case. You
Even though he's
can't
captain,
expect
even though he's
guys to be.
T20 captain.
No, that has to be the case. I would be
Okay.
appalled if Shea's sent to Nepal, to Sharjah to play
Gotcha.
against
Yeah.
Nepal, and then jettisoned over to India with just a few days in between to prepare for a test series against India. So with that in mind, and obviously Joel kept wicket in that series as well. So
Yeah.
I'll continue with that, continue to give him the opportunity to get some game time into his legs. Obviously playing against Nepal, you don't want to write anyone off, but obviously um, quote unquote an easy opportunity where you can get some confidence and
Yeah.
potentially get some scores.
Yeah.
You know, that's a good opportunity for him. Casey Carty at three. I think I've gone with Casey as
Yeah.
vice captain as well.
Yeah. And I really like that.
I
Did I
think
like that?
yeah, I think that, looking at the current construct of the West Indies white ball teams, Casey's at an age where now he's in a sweet spot being, I think, 28, if I'm not mistaken. So he's coming into his 30s pretty soon. Lots of guys will be probably in the next 2 or 3 years, on the way
Yeah.
out. So then this is giving him, potential early leadership opportunities where he's not the captain, but he can still have opportunities to be in leadership positions and
Yeah.
learn on the international stage.
Yeah. 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 And then obviously, the other selections there. What do you think it's an approach? Obviously, with Rovman as your captain that you mentioned there, and obviously for people, what people obviously listening, that we'll go through the list. Obviously, people watching, you can see the names above. But what's your thought process with going with Rovman? Do you feel that's slightly backhanded, given obviously his situation, how he lost the captaincy?
Well, I just think that obviously being the most recent captain before Shea,
Yeah,
and you don't necessarily want to go and just give someone else a whole new team in just a two-match or three-match series. I think that it's easier to go back to Rovman, someone that would understand the team, someone that would be
yeah,
players would be familiar with his
yeah, yeah,
leadership
yeah,
style. It's very easy to just go into that for just a few games as opposed to trying to identify a new leader and putting that person under unnecessary pressure.
Yeah, and what I did like about, and I'm obviously jumping the gun going to the bowlers a bit, is I really like the idea that you picked Shamar Springer and Obed McCoy because you are ultimately rewarding their CPL success as we discussed obviously last week or the weekend on that podcast. So I do like that you're giving the people that opportunity based on their performances. And you mentioned obviously about Shamar Springer having that death bowling down to a T.
Yeah, you're not big on chronological order, are you?
No, sorry.
But no,
No, sorry.
you're all over the shop. But no, Shamar Springer, I think that obviously he's someone that would have played for the West Indies, I think, late last year as well. And then, as I mentioned, you'd have gotten injured. So that would have
Yeah,
kept him out of cricket for some time. But you'd like to see guys coming back from injury, and
yeah, yeah,
clearly he's putting a lot of work. Um, Clearly he's been practicing, and what he's been practicing, he's been able to execute thus far at this stage of the CPL. And so you want to give him another opportunity now. And I think it's a perfect opportunity actually to come in against a Nepal and sort of start to ease his
yeah,
way
back
back
in.
into international cricket. The same thing with Obed McCoy. I mean, Obed McCoy adds so much to this West Indies team because if Obed McCoy can get fit and firing, he provides wicket taking ability through all stages of the game with his skill set in terms of slow balls, Yorkers, pace on, short
Yeah,
balls, left arm variety,
yeah,
swinging it, and I think that really adds a lot to the options of an Alzari Joseph, the options of a Jaden Sears, the option of Shamar Joseph, so I
yeah,
think it really pays well. And they're all around that same age group as well. So that's now starting to build out
yeah,
um, a bowling attack because you can then hopefully transfer an Obed McCoy
yeah,
into 50 over cricket as well.
yeah,
So I think that it's been very good, his performances in this CPL. Obviously, we've mentioned that he needs to work on his fitness and get himself back into shape that way.
yeah.
But his skill set and what he provides or what he offers is something that the West Indies have been seeking. So, yeah, I'm very happy for him.
Yeah. Going back to obviously the back into the chronological, how stupid of me, but hey ho, I just got completely ahead of myself. So looking in that middle order that you'd obviously selected, you've gone with Shimon Hetmeyer. You obviously I've mentioned there about Rovman Powell, Jade Gooley, and then Jason Holder. What again? I pretty much picks itself based on obviously the previous selections as well. But what was what was you talk me through that a bit more detail, really?
I think the only one there that probably hasn't played is Jed Gooley, but
Mm,
he was selected to go to
yeah,
Ireland, and
yeah,
because of visa issues, wasn't able to travel. I think that the Shimron Hetmeyer, the Rovman Powell, the Jason Holder, as you rightfully said, these are all guys that sort of pick themselves.
yeah,
I think that it's continuity in terms of building up to the T20 World Cup
yeah,
next year. So you want these guys to continue to play as much as possible. You also want them to provide that level of seniority and experience in this squad that's missing a few senior players as well. So I think that those are straightforward selections and
yeah,
guys that should be sort of the core backbone of a series in the event that something goes wrong.
yeah. W- With that, is this series? I know obviously these obviously players who Shea Roston and the like are obviously going to be with the test team. We're obviously on the idea that that's going to take place. Would you not use this series to potentially look at how it could work in a potential for somebody else in terms of a four, five, or maybe five, six, and seven to to see if there's anybody else who could go and do that? Could anybody stand out in the remainder of the CPL campaign to maybe get on that plane?
For me, no, 100% not. And for the sole premise that the West Indies haven't been winning much games lately.
Yeah,
So you
true.
want to
Yeah,
give these guys
yeah,
not only game time leading up to the T20 World Cup next year, but you
yeah,
want to give them game time in scenarios where they can start winning and
yeah,
gaining that confidence as well,
yeah,
keeping the cluster of the team together. And when the other guys that do play multiple formats come back into the team, they're coming back
yeah,
into a better environment, a slightly happier environment,
yeah. Fair
slightly
point.
more relaxed environment.
Yeah, no, fair point. Understand. And then further moving down the list again in chronological order at this point, Romario Shepherd, Akil Hussain, and then Jediah Blades. Again, good option.
Again,
Yeah.
continuity in selection. Romario Shepherd could really use these opportunities as well because you look at, as I said, guys that will probably miss out in an Alzari Joseph, uh, Shamar Joseph, and a Jaden Seals. Sorry, I keep saying pronouncing his name wrong. I'll just call him Trojan. So that's probably what. You've seen the movie Troy, the
Yeah.
Trojan Horse?
Yeah.
Jaden Seals is the Trojan horse of West Indies cricket. He's the prize that, won us
Nice.
the war ultimately. So that's why I call him Trojan. But no. Yeah, I think Romario Shepherd really needs this opportunity. Not that he's done anything wrong, but just, sometimes in life there's just an emergence of or an abundance of players that just come up around you, and
Yeah.
sometimes it just makes certain selections untenable. So I think it's a great opportunity for him to go and even more so than with the bat, with the ball,
Just gonna say that.
showcase what he can do and show that he can be a dependable four over option
Yeah.
because you've got genuine bowling depth
Yeah.
and options becoming available now. Same thing for Jediah Blades. If you've got an Obed McCoy back in the fray
Yeah.
and they've got time to work on him and get him fit, um, for the rest of the year leading into the T20 World Cup next year. I think obviously Jediah Blades was never something that anyone was expecting to be a quick, rushed job.
No.
He's someone that's going to need to have time and investment into him. But I think that with the likes of Owen McCoy, it's twofold in the sense that it takes the requirements of him being ready quickly off. It allows him to grow
Yeah.
slowly and into
Understand.
his own,
Yeah.
but it also gives him a more senior left arm bowler that he can learn from as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And the point that you made about Romario Shepherd is I really want him to nail his position and his role within that side. And like I said, those three playing those three games could allow him to just go and do that and make sure that he's in that side and his role is X, Y, and Z, and that's what he's going to be doing. Because as you mentioned, when we go to that World Cup, having those defined roles and understanding his position in that team will only have a big advantage on the team overall. Definitely. So, and then obviously finishing the squad. Obviously, we mentioned Obed McCoy, we've mentioned Shamal Springer, but the three then the remaining you've gone with Navin Badesi, Amir Django as a backup keeper, and then you've gone with Carrie Pierre as well.
Yep. Navin Bidesi, I think we've all
Yeah,
established that,
yeah,
looking for a leg spinner. He's actually a very good batsman from what I've seen as well. So genuine all-rounder. That's, another great option for the West Indies. You want to give him exposure, you want to give him opportunity. Uh, I think that again, starting against Nepal would be a way to ease him into
yeah,
international cricket with a lot more tougher fixtures coming up towards the end of the year. You can see how he handles the opportunity, how he handles the pressure, and then figure out how do you want to mold him and shape him based on what he shows he's capable of and handling.
yeah,
Uh, so I think that's a very important opportunity to get some game time into a leg spinner. We look at Amir Jangu. He's had a very stop-start career in the sense that obviously burst onto the scene with that 100,
yeah,
um, played a test match, played a few T20s, but then has found himself on the bench. So it may be an opportunity where you get another game or two into him, depending on the composition of the team, to see and continue to develop and give him opportunities, but to see what he can do. I think that he's a very talented player. And again, especially in the T20 form of the game, I think it comes down to whether they may see him as a finisher, a middle order option, or someone that can go and open the batting, such as his
yeah,
utility and his
yeah,
versatility as a batter. So um, just happy to have him in the squad and give him an opportunity because I think that the West Indies need to, as you said earlier, continue to give exposure. But as I said, you want to win games because I haven't been winning, but this is someone that you can also used on the developmental track in Ame Jangu, and I think the last player I had was
Yeah,
Curry Peer.
yeah, yeah,
Um, I think it's I wanted another spinner. I didn't want to go for another off spinner because for me, Jed Gooley will be doing that sort of role that Roston Chase does in
yeah,
terms of off spin. So I went for Curry Peer because he offers control. Um, he's someone that can back up or even do the role that Akil Hussein does. So you can sort of look at Akil Hussein to bowl through the middles,
yeah.
through the middle overs because a Gudakesh Moti will be in my test team. So that's why I've gone for a Curry pair here to see what he can offer. Obviously had a great first class season as well. Was a part of the St. Lucia franchise that won the last CPL
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
is someone that you can expect a level of control and consistency from. Obviously a great fielder and he can bat as well.
Yeah.
So another good option to have in and around the team.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of having from an environment perspective for him to be around the side. And as we've gone through the 15 there, there's a couple of things I want to mention, and one of them is I know that we've spoken very highly on here about Casey Carty. With him going in your T20 squad, do you feel he's what do you make of his test situation then moving forward?
Well, we'll announce our test team next
Yeah,
week, but
we're
he's not
not
in.
gonna go
Yeah,
into that, but
yeah,
and
yeah.
the other thing,
Obviously, if I've got him in my T20 team, he's not in the test team. But I think as well, this is also giving him an opportunity to go and work on some things specifically. I know that there are certain things that he wants to do to make sure that he's ready to play Test cricket. I personally don't think that he was actually in that last test squad before he made those centuries in
in
that
India,
limited
sorry, in Ireland.
over series of England and Ireland.
Yeah,
So again, I don't think that allowed him to prepare properly. Um, I do think that he has all the necessary skills to be successful at Test cricket, but it just comes down to making sure that when that next opportunity comes, because I think that it will come, and this is not me dropping him. This is just me allowing him to go and prepare the way he would want to and be ready to play Test cricket.
right, okay. And the other thing I was going to ask you, you mentioned there about Evan Lewis from a test team perspective that you've spoken about. Are you against the idea of, but it's, depending on where they are in India, off the top of my head, Sharjah to India is between 3 and 4 hours. Would you be open to the idea of anyone going? No, from an integration perspective, not
Nope.
at all. If there anyone
No, nope,
listening
nope,
not
nope,
watching,
nope,
Karen
nope.
was shaking his head profusely at that point. No, not at
Nope,
all.
nope. Test cricket is such that, especially for guys that haven't played much Test cricket, have played a lot of white ball cricket. The red ball does so much more than a white ball that you can't just go and play, or sorry, go and practice two
Right.
to 3 days or a week and then be ready to play. That's what experienced seasoned international cricketers, international test players, international
Yeah.
multi-format players do. But it's not a very easy transition to just jump from playing a T20 series in completely different conditions to going to play in a different country against that red ball. It's really not.
I just meant more from a perspective. If you think right, okay, I want to go with him. Evan Lewis isn't going to play any red ball cricket until the 4 day championship starts. So could you get him over there from being involved in from net? No, not at all.
What I would do is the West Indies go to New Zealand from India, if I'm not
Yes, of course.
mistaken,
Yes.
or there's like a 2 week break. So what I would do is during that 2 week break, I would have him go back to Antigua and
Right.
prep for that New Zealand series where
Right. Okay.
it's not under the eyes or under the scrutiny of
Right.
the Indian media, which is obviously the most intense
Yeah.
in international cricket, because that also might provide the temptation of the selectors to say he's here, we can
Yeah.
fit him in into the
Yeah. Yeah.
second
Yeah. Yeah.
match, and he may not be ready.
Yeah.
So
Brilliant point.
I'd take him back to the Caribbean.
That's a brilliant point. And the next thing I wanted to mention was to do from a management perspective. What do you do regard Sammy?
the management staff that goes to Nepal is not the management staff that goes to India.
Right,
The full management staff goes to India. Substitute management staff goes to Nepal.
right. Does that undermine the Nepal series ever so slightly?
Well, no, I think that's what happened basically with the Ireland
The
series
back
as
end
well.
towards the
When
island.
they
Yeah,
went back to Ireland for the T20 series, I think it would be pretty much more of the same. And that's why I said, like, I think that it may be a situation where you need to have a white ball and a red ball staff.
yeah,
Um, because they're asking a lot of Daren Sammy. It's not a lot in a situation where there's enough time to handle it as well.
no,
It's like very condensed
yeah,
schedules. So I think it's unfair on him to have to handle all of that whilst also being the the lead selector,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So
It is. It is. I know we spoke about it, but it is a lot to take on, and it's a lot to have a lot of pressure in terms of everything that comes with it. It's tough. Have you got, you want to be able to. You're telling me if he was to be in Sharjah, he's at the back, round here he's thinking about what he's going to be cupping up against in 2 weeks' time, and that doesn't advantage him nor the team nor the players because he's fully focused on them. Um, I do like, and I really like that we're discussing this now as well because I think it's nice and in advance where this is where things should be being thought about, and you start picking it and you're looking at changing it about, and you'd like to think that communication with Shea and Roston and whoever's not going to Nepal, sorry, to Sharjah hypothetically, that they know obviously post the CPL it's all go to India and the focus of Test cricket starts rather than what we saw over here when it's not ideal. It's not ideal prep at all. You're trying to juggle multi-form.
exactly, and going to India is not the easiest task at the best of times. So
Well, you mentioned that as
you
well
you
from a
don't want to
perspective.
be,
It's completely different to
you
what,
know,
I didn't even cross my mind something like that when you're bringing in an Evan Lewis to be around. Like you said, it could be picked up straight away, and all of a sudden it's completely blown out of proportion. It just doesn't help the team camp at all, really.
100%. So
Hmm. No, it's good. It's good to discuss that. I know, obviously, briefly through there, we mentioned that we are going to name, or you're going to name the squad for India, which I'm looking forward to. And I'm fortunate enough to get you pick in advance, and I'm looking forward to hearing you discuss that because there's a couple of good picks in there, a couple that I definitely like. So I'm looking forward to going through that. But going back to the series, what would you ultimately like to see come out of the test, other than the 3 wins, which I appreciate? But what else would you like to see come out of the series against Nepal?
um well, as you rightfully said, other than 3 wins, because that's the main objective. West Indies
Yes.
need to start winning games. But you want to see players perform, and it's not even you want to see young players perform. You want to see players perform. Like you
Yeah.
want to be able to say that you've ticked all your boxes in terms of,
Yeah.
let's say, Navin Bidesi played and he showed something. You want to see destructive Evan Lewis innings.
Yeah.
You want to see Casey Carty craft a classy innings. You want to
Yeah.
see Jediah Blades put on a show. You want to see Rovman Powell be consistent. Just you want to see performances from every single player or as many players as possible
Yeah.
to continue to make sure that you're ticking the right boxes and,
Yeah.
and, and players are taking full advantage of the opportunity because the World Cup is fast approaching now, and you want to make sure that guys are, honing in on the finer details in preparation for that.
Jumping the gun quite a bit, and we touched on it a little bit with the New Zealand series. With the T20s being before the ODI, like it's a full tour really in terms of the T20 schedule and an ODI schedule, and then a Test schedule. Do you see a similar approach there, or are you happy for the likes of Shane Rossington to play all three formats at that period of time?
No, I think you'll see something where they play all 3 formats on that
Right.
tour because obviously then everyone will be in New Zealand and it's just a
It's,
matter of the specialists for whatever
yeah,
format
yeah,
coming in and out. But the main guys will for me, play that full series.
Yeah, cool. And then just to wrap up, there's been the contracted players or the protected players for the franchises have been announced. What was your take on that when you looked at the list of players and whatnot?
I've only just seen it a few hours ago. I sent it to you in the group.
Yeah,
It's interesting because you sort of wonder, or everyone's saying that the franchise system is broken, but franchises keep selecting the same players year in, year out.
yeah,
So if it's broken and it's not fit for purpose, but nothing is changing, then where the West Indies supposed to find players from if it's been widely acknowledged and identified that the current batch of players aren't taking the opportunity of being regional cricketers as they should. You know,
yeah, yeah.
it's interesting to me. You've got, as I said, the same guys playing year in, year out. So
What
I don't know. I don't know what the objective or what the vision is there.
One of the names I mentioned, obviously, I know Craig Brathwaite's on there, but Kemar Roach isn't. Is that effectively like? Is he just left completely in the lurch? Like, what? Where's he? Where's his current situation?
If I had the answer to that, I
Yeah.
think I'd be a very, very rich man because obviously he was dropped from the test team. He's not retired that we know of.
No, that's what I mean. I
He's
just
not
feel.
put out any official statement or anything. But then he's not on a Barbados contract, whether that is the case where they're just giving a younger player the opportunity to be contracted, but Kemar Roach may play as a paid for play.
Right.
That has been, I guess, identified to anyone as well. So
Yeah.
it's interesting because, someone that's played so long for the West Indies, and
He doesn't deserve this in
I
this.
think it's safe to say he's a great of West Indies cricket. Almost 300 Test wickets. I think that the lack of communication or the lack of transparency has been disappointing,
Yeah, he doesn't
egregious,
deserve it. No.
probably is a better word. Yeah. But I guess we'll find out more, just like everyone else,
Yeah.
whenever or if ever anything is said.
Yeah. No. No. Well, that wraps it up for today. Again, as always, as I finish, do let us know what you do think to that Nepal squad that Kieran selected. Some of the names, should Shabin white ball captain should he be going? Let us know what you think. People who've missed out. Who else do you see? Featuring really. As we mentioned, we are going to be doing a test team announcement squad. So, bear that in mind. Let us know what you think towards that, and we'll obviously discuss that in the next couple of days or weeks when that may be. But thank you very much for joining us on another episode of the PowettPlay Podcast. Thank you so much, guys.